I intend to relocate your infant and place them in the mountainous terrain while I attend to my son here. All right. Upon the reception of my words, a distinct sound of a smartphone dropping resonated from the other end of the phone line. It was Mary, my sister-in-law. She must have inspected the back seat, and a scream quickly followed. Reflecting on it, Mary had consistently tormented me, from unsettling scenes at the wedding reception to incessant spam emails and sudden visits right before I gave birth. However, that scream marked the beginning of Mary's downfall. My name is Emma Carolyn, 29 years old, recently gave birth and just returned from the hospital. My husband, Joe Roger, is enchanted with our newborn son, Jason, and reluctantly headed to work today. Despite living a happily married life with good relations with my in-laws, Mary has always been an exception. From the start, Mary and I never clicked. Roger and I were classmates in middle school in a small town in Nebraska, with a peaceful atmosphere and fewer students. Roger's family owned a decent-sized construction company, well regarded in the area, occasionally taking orders from outside the state. Their large house served as a gathering place for our friends, and Roger's mom was always welcoming. One summer day while working on homework, we were interrupted by unfamiliar heavy footsteps and an overpowering scent of perfume. A flamboyant woman, Joe's sister Mary, burst in, disrupting our study session. Despite Joe's attempts to explain our situation, Mary dismissed us, giving me a particularly disdainful look and warning me not to get close to her, Joe. From that day on, Mary's disdain lingered. Roger apologized for her behavior, explaining that she had always been like that since childhood. We drifted apart after graduating and attended different high schools, losing touch until we bumped into each other again. Upon my relocation to New York for college, following the orientation, I found myself wandering through various clubs, contemplating which ones to join. Suddenly, someone grabbed my arm, and to my astonishment, it was Roger. "Is that you, Emma? Roger, is that you?" It felt too good to be true, but indeed, Roger was attending the same college and was in the same department as me. While our majors differed, we ended up taking many of the same classes, deepening our bond over the 5 years. As we embarked on the job-hunting journey after graduation, neither of us returned to our hometowns. I learned that Roger, expected to take over his family's business, wasn't planning to go back either. He confided in me, revealing that he had run away from Mary during high school. I was shocked to hear this revelation, especially from someone who usually appeared so serious. When Roger started high school, Mary, through my dad's connections, had secured a job at a local company. Despite her desire to stay in New York and have fun, she couldn't find a job anywhere else. Reflecting on the loud and overpowering presence of Mary, I understood the circumstances. Roger expressed his desire to find a job and get married in New York, asking if it was okay with me. Overwhelmed with emotion, I couldn't help but hug him tightly. 4 years later, he proposed, and we decided to get married. When we visited his family home to introduce ourselves, Mary was waiting for us. Recognizing me, she remarked, "What are you doing here? You're that girl from back then." I was oddly calm and surprised that she remembered after 11 years. At our wedding, Mary made a scene, arriving in a huge fluffy white dress that resembled a snowman. It was clear she did it on purpose, arriving at the last moment with no time to change. Mary, always on the larger side, seemed even bigger now. During the reception, she made a scene after consuming too much alcohol. Stumbling up during Roger's boss's speech, she insulted him about his thinning hair, even taking off his wig. Roger's face betrayed his shock. Apologies followed, and our in-laws quickly removed Mary from the scene. Post-reception, we demanded an apology from Mary, but she remained defiant, refusing to accept our marriage. She crossed her legs, turned her head away, and declared, "I will never accept your marriage. Why on earth is Roger with someone like you?" Accusing me of talking behind her back to Roger, Mary continued her disruptive behavior. "I'm certain of it. It was my choice to withhold introducing you to Emma for so long. Everything seems to crumble when you're present. The reason I didn't make the varsity baseball team in high school was my own lack of skill. Yet you confronted the coach, and as a consequence, I had to leave the team. You recall that, don't you? But that's not accurate. It's disheartening that the coach failed to recognize Joe's talents. You are meant to shine. I've always supported you in that way." My father-in-law sighed, observing Mary's hysterical outburst. After a moment, he rose, took her hand, and said, "Mary, get ready quickly. We're relinquishing the room you're currently living in." Mary protested, bewildered. "What are you talking about? Just now there was a call from your company. That person has been an important contact of yours, associated with your company's deputy director for a long time." Mary's astonished voice echoed in the room. My father-in-law continued sternly, "So you were rude to him. You know what that means, right? He was quite angry, but he said he'll continue doing business with the company in exchange for firing you. I allowed you to live on your own because you claimed you were working, but that's over. We won't let you leave the house so easily, and we're going to put you to work hard here." His firm words brought relief to Emma and Roger. You two live your life without worries. Don't concern yourselves with the company. Even if you're going to take over, it's still a long way off, reassured their parents. However, this wasn't the end of it. Every day, my phone received harassing calls and a barrage of emails. During my work breaks, checking her messages revealed a list of comments like, "Because of you, Joe doesn't come back to his hometown. Joe is mine. He should always be at home with me. You're not fit to be Joe's wife. Persuade Joe to come back." I contemplated blocking her number, but the fear that she might show up at my door overwhelmed me. Around that time, I often felt sick. I conveyed my gratitude to Roger's parents and decided to return to my parents' house. Upon visiting Roger's family home, both my father-in-law and Mary were absent, making the large house feel lonely. "It's okay. We're relieved without her around," they remarked, seemingly tired of their daily life with Mary. However, close to my delivery date, a shocking event unfolded. Mary banged loudly on my parents' door, and at that time, my mother had gone out shopping. I ensured all the windows were locked tightly. As long as I stayed indoors, I believed I'd be safe. But then, there was a loud crashing noise. Through the living room curtains, I saw a figure. It was Mary. Holding a metal baseball bat, she stomped her way into the house, shoes on. "There you are. I knew you were home, Emma," she declared. In a panic, I grabbed my phone and made my way to the front door. Mary quickly closed in on me, seemingly predicting my move. Feeling the danger, I attempted to rush upstairs, but I was met with a terrible blow to my back. Mary had struck me right in the middle of my back with the baseball bat. I winced at the impact, feeling a rising sensation in my stomach, almost like nausea. Still clutching my belly, I began to climb the familiar stairs, trying to move as swiftly as I could. "Wait up!" Mary shouted at the top of her lungs. Ignoring her, I reached my destination, the room on the second floor I had used before going to college. Though I had been living on the first floor since returning home, in there, I could lock the door from the inside. Mary, groaning and with heavy steps, laboriously made her way up our winding staircase. She paused midway, catching her breath. Seizing the opportunity, I darted into my room, locked the door, and dragged a table in front of it for extra security. Relief flooded me as I slumped to the floor. That's when I noticed the carpet was damp. My water had broken. Realizing this, I felt my body shivering uncontrollably. Oh no, not now. On the other side of the door, Mary had caught up. She pounded on the door with the bat, each thud heavy and a testament to her strength. Random thoughts raced through my head. Then I heard my mom's voice from outside the window. "She's back," I thought, relieved. But I couldn't let her in. It was too dangerous. I called my mom on my cell. "Emma, are you okay?" I explained the shattered window and urged her to call 911 for an ambulance and the police. "But don't let Mary see you. She's got a bat," I added before fainting from the stress. When I came to, everything seemed to be over. I felt disoriented and my head was clouded. "Emma, thank God you're awake," a familiar voice, Rogers, assured me as he stood by my bed. The realization hit me, my stomach. "Emma, when they brought you in, things were looking dire. They had to perform an emergency C-section." Panic surged. "My baby! Where's my baby?" I asked urgently. Roger eased my worries. "He's fine, a healthy baby boy. Thank you. We'll go see him together later." Relief washed over me, but as I took a deep breath, pain shot through me. "Ouch, you can't do that. The doctor said you have a pretty bad fracture." Shivering, I wondered if it was from Mary's bat hitting me. Did the bat strike my ribs? I thought, grateful it wasn't the baby. Roger then apologized. "I'm sorry. Why are you apologizing?" I questioned. "That baseball bat Mary brought over was in my room," he confessed. I remembered. It was the bat Roger had used for the baseball team before quitting midway. I shouldn't have left it where she could find it. "It's not your fault. If she hadn't found your bat, she probably would have taken Dad's golf club," Roger reassured me. It dawned on me then. What happened to Mary? "Well, she was caught red-handed breaking the windows of your family home," Roger explained. "Mary, supposed to be on a work trip to the island, overheard a conversation about my pregnancy and lost her cool. We'll need to cool things down for a while," Roger added. The next day, after being discharged from the hospital, our son Jason was as lively as ever, now breastfeeding. While gently stroking Jason's back, my smartphone rang. It was Mary. Contemplating ignoring it, I hesitated. After the 40th ring, I decided to answer. "Hello, finally. Why did you take so long? How long did you plan to make me wait?" Mary's voice was agitated, overlapping with another noise. "Stop that! It's so loud!" I exclaimed. "Hey, Mary, do you have a baby with you?" I asked. Indeed, the background noise confirmed the presence of a baby. "That's right. I took your son, but he's so noisy, crying nonstop." Confused, I questioned Mary's motive. "Why would there be a baby there?" Mary admitted. I thought I'd take him home and raise him my way, but he's so loud. Alarmed, I reached for the home phone and called Roger's mom. Is Jason okay? I inquired. Yes, but isn't that Jason crying? Mary continued making noise in the background. My mother-in-law was shocked. Do you know where Mary is right now? Mary's unsettling revelation came next. She's been quiet since the police handed her over. She just called and it sounds like she has a baby with her. Sensing an opportunity, I put the home phone near my smartphone. You checked the hospital to see if your son was there, didn't you? Tough luck, he's right here with me, so darn loud. Mary revealed her plan. I got an idea. What have you been saying all this time? Dread settled in as she declared, I'm going to leave your baby out in the mountains, but Jason is here with me. While breastfeeding, a scream suddenly echoed from the other end. I gently poked my baby Jason and he responded with a cheerful laugh. Mary must have heard that. Then confusion struck me. Whose baby did I have here? I asked, wasn't your son still in the hospital? However, there was a loud thud, followed by the sound of a baby crying even louder and Mary screaming. She must have realized she had kidnapped someone else's baby. Panicking, I grabbed the home phone and called someone, explaining the seriousness of the situation. They promised to call the hospital immediately, assuring me to stay put. Given the constant need for breastfeeding, I couldn't leave my son's side. I focused all my energy on soothing him amidst the commotion from the other end of the smartphone. Later, I learned that Mary's car was found parked by the seaside road. Mary was found dazed inside the car, and the kidnapped baby placed in the car seat was safely retrieved. The baby was mildly dehydrated, but sternly reprimanded by the paramedics. His furious parents expressed their anger, vowing not to let this slide. It wasn't just a family dispute, it was a kidnapping involving someone else's child. My father-in-law, rushing back, reportedly told the police that there was no handling this at home anymore. He decided to cut ties with Mary for good, stating that this was the last straw. Mary, initially clueless about the gravity of the situation, reportedly let out a loud scream when she understood. The police explained that Mary had been quiet at the in-laws' house for a while, plotting revenge against me for being detained over breaking the glass at her family home. She learned about my upcoming discharge and planned to kidnap my son before that, but missed the exact discharge date. Mary sneaked into a patient room at the hospital, taking a child with the same last name as ours, thinking it was my son. The police and ambulances were dispatched, and the situation became clear thanks to a call from my mother-in-law. The police also came to our house, checked the call history on my smartphone, and were able to pinpoint Mary's location. Consequently, Mary is going to be in jail for a while, facing a criminal trial. Despite lawyers seeking testimonies in her favor, the in-laws firmly declined, refusing to support or help her in any way. As my smartphone finally went silent, we sighed in relief, hoping that peaceful days were finally upon us. The prospect of Roger returning to take over the family home and us living happily together seemed close at hand.